Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. Good to see all of you guys. We have a lot of drama today. Little early session. Going to be watching about an hour and 20-minute clip that Mr. Altcoin Daily Austin over there, he actually dropped it talking to, I don't even know his name, TJ something, I don't know, Shed, I think his last name is. So he's going to be explaining where this entire thing started and where it went, I guess, and you guys are gonna see where it went in just a second. BitBoy apparently was arrested last night, so that's that. But yeah, so we're gonna watch Crypto Worlds real quick, about 5 minutes in, just a quick little clip. What's going on? Michael Saylor's buying some more Bitcoin over at MicroStrategy, so he hasn't changed his plans at all. And yeah, pretty much just the rest of drama today. We're gonna react to it and see what you guys think about it in the chat. Let's see who's here, and then we will get into it. Mr. KJ, appreciate you, and thank you for sending that picture in the Discord. I appreciate it. It's an arrest log for BitBoy. I'll show you guys that in just a minute. We have Cape Cod Crypto. What's up, buddy? Kazuma, good to see you. Rudput, Steven Cicero, Shay Mining, Alvidis, good to see you as well. Andrew Masad, Paddywhack Miner, Shay Mining, I think I already said that. Let me see. Who else? Dan R. What's up, buddy? Sadie sometimes, 100 Air. Backwards Miner, my man, and All Track. And so what? 2007. Good morning. Good morning. And I apologize. I totally forgot to reach out to you last night. Damn it. I'll call you this morning, Mr. So What, or whatever. We'll touch base and we'll talk about what you had going on. All right, let's see what we're looking like today in the market. As you can see, lights are green behind me, so we got to be good. Let's check it out. Well, not too bad, I guess. 26,238. We have Ethereum over at 1589, so not too bad. XRP 50 cents. We have BNB 212, Dogecoin 6 cents, ADA is 24 cents. Solana's still under 20 bucks. What do you guys think about Solana, to be honest? Do you think it's a good buy? Personally, I do think it's a good buy. And you know what? I was kind of thinking about it yesterday. I might start showing the Bitcoin chart and my market cipher indicator that I have in the mornings. Let me know if you guys think that's a good idea. We just kind of look at the daily chart and then do that. I haven't honestly looked at TradingView in so long. I don't know why. I don't have time to trade, to be honest. All right, let's see. This is on the week. We have WeMix up 50.3%. I have absolutely no idea what this coin is. I don't know. Seems like it came out of absolutely nowhere, but I guess that will be we'll have to look into that another day. Render down 2.2% today. WeMix is down 7.3. FXS, what is this? Frax share? This is, so these are the top 100 coins, what they've pretty much done over the last day or last 24 hours. So this is ranked 78. I've never heard of this. Frax share? Never heard of it. Hex, what's the drama going on with Hex? Do we have any more news on that? Has anybody heard about that Richard Hart guy in the SEC? Are they going after him? Let's see. Alex S says Ben is already out. All right. Well, that's good. I mean, I would assume so. I would hope so. Did you guys hear how many times the cops asked him who was in the car? And he finally said that Cassie girl that he was cheating on his wife with. She totally doesn't know that she was with her, or he was with her rather. All right, let's see. Fear and Greed Index 46. Didn't want to blind you guys. Check out the top 10 coins by coin market cap, and then we'll get into this. All right, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, XRP, USD coin. We have Lido Stakes, Ether, Cardano, Dogecoin, and Solana. Again, Litecoin is in 15th and Shiba still in 16th. Not too bad. All right, let me show you guys real quick. So first off, huge shout out to this guy, Brovik.eth. He actually is the one that posted this. If you guys are interested, go give him a follow. But let's watch this. This is actually while he was loitering outside of, I'm assuming, one of the employees' houses or something, trying to reclaim his Lambo or whatever the hell he was doing. I have no idea, to be honest, the whole backstory behind it, but he was live streaming this to about 2,500 people when he decided to go and get himself arrested. So let's see what this is about. What the hell? Why did I just go black and white? Oh, you know what? I know why. There we go. All right, let's see how this goes. You guys can be the judge of this. You guys think this is a good decision or a bad one? Let's do it.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, do me a favor.
Yep.
Hey, stop.
Hey, how's it going? Oh, him?
Stop.
Oh, stop. I couldn't hear.
You have a weapon on you.
No, I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
So.
I have one in my vehicle, but I do not have a weapon on me.
Okay.
Okay.
Do me a favor. Take out your whatever. Fanny pack.
Now, I'm sorry. I reached too fast. I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay.
Put your phone down.
Okay.
Put your phone down.
Okay. I'll put the phone down. Okay.
Put the phone.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Put the phone down.
Put the fanny pack down.
Okay.
Real quick before this continues, can I just show you what Geek of All Trades sends me in my Discord, my VIP chat? This is this is what he sends me. This is what he sends me. What you see versus what she sees. All right, let's continue.
What's going on? What's going on? This man inside of this house.
Actually, he's gonna check you real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just the weapons.
I'm sorry. I have a. Okay. Yep. No weapons. No
Where in
weapons.
the car is your gun?
It's in the back seat.
Back seat?
Yep.
Is anybody else in the car?
Yes, there's someone in the car.
Who's in the car? Who?
What's that?
Who's in your car?
Who's in my car?
Yes.
Okay. Let's.
Who's in your car?
Who's in my car?
Who's in your truck, sir?
Cassie is in my car. Cassie's in my
All
truck.
right, Cassie.
Cassie's in my truck. My wife knows that we're here, by the way. She knows we came to do this. But my wife is aware. So we're live on YouTube right now.
Okay.
We got about 2,500 people watching. So Cassie is a girl I had an affair with. She's involved in the situation with me and this guy here. My wife knows. We were just at my daughter's tennis.
That's so crazy, right? It's so crazy. And there's no chance, zero chance that his wife knew if he was hesitating that bad. The cop asked him 5 times, who's in your car? Who's in your car? Like, for one, you didn't have to say that, you know, you had your gun in your car. The guy asked you if the gun was on you, if you had any weapons on you. Answer's no. That was a simple answer, no. You didn't have to say it was in my car. It just opened him up to get asked who was in your car. I mean, the cop did the right thing. He was asking who was in the car. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. But yeah, clearly Ben was trying to hide that he was with that girl, Cassie. So it was kind of, it's kind of messed up. I kind of feel bad for him in the situation to a sense, but man, he's just putting himself in a shitty spot, like overall. Let's see. He just got out 2 hours ago, says Mr. Way Too Fast for you. So you posted the whole video. It's a 36-minute video. I'm not going to watch that. I don't really care what the hell he was doing over there, to be honest. Let's see real quick. I want to show you guys this arrest log quick, and then we will get into the actual video. So this is I apologize if it's a bit blinding, but yeah, so this is Benjamin Charles Armstrong in jail. Let's see, 9:11 p.m. age on booking 40, bond $2,600, more or less for loitering and prowling. That's crazy, right? Crazy. Well, I mean, dude, you don't show up at somebody else's house and go and pull some bullshit like that. But anyways, we're gonna get into the whole interview, and we're gonna find out what is going on with him behind the scenes with TJ and the whole team over there. So let's by the way, if you guys don't know, TJ Shed is the guy that's accused of stealing the whole company from him. But at the end of the day, Ben Armstrong still owns 67% of his company, and TJ owns 33%. So Ben, he fucked up in a way that you can't really fix it, right? And it's kind of a point. TJ had to do what he had to do, and I totally get it, but we're gonna contemplate that today. So let's start with cryptoworld.com first, or sorry, CNBC television on YouTube. CNBC.com if you guys are interested for the full video. But this is they're gonna go over the clip, like the news, just at the beginning, first 2 minutes, then we're gonna dive into the interview.
Today.
That's 60. Yeah, it's an hour and 20 minutes. Sorry. All right, let's do it.
Today, MicroStrategy scoops up more than $147 million in Bitcoin in August. Hackers steal $200 million from a Hong Kong crypto exchange. And former FTX US President Brett Harrison explains Architect, his new digital assets-focused company.
We're going to skip his conversation. I don't really care about FTX.
Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Kate Rooney. Cryptocurrencies in the red to kick off the week. By noon Eastern, Bitcoin traded around $26,200 and Ether traded below $15.90. Aptos,
Did they always have Aptos here? Or is that the first time I'm seeing that?
token for Web3 focused blockchain, launched by Aptos Lab, was a bright spot this morning, rising more than 4%. Okay, let's talk about some of the top stories. First, MicroStrategy keeping to its promise of buying more and more Bitcoin. Michael Saylor, the company's founder and chairman, announced on X that the software company bought more than 5,400 Bitcoin in August. He said that at average prices, that comes out to more than $147 million. The company has amassed more than 158,000 Bitcoin, worth a little less than $4.7 billion since it started buying Bitcoin back in 2020. Next up, Mixin, a Hong Kong-based decentralized network just lost hundreds of billions of dollars in a hack. It's according to a post from the exchange on X. Hackers attacked a cloud service provider for the network early Saturday morning, and Mixon said initial verification showed about $200 million were involved in that hack. The network has now stopped deposits and withdrawals, which Mixon says will reopen once a fix is confirmed.
All right, we're not going to listen to this guy talk. I want to get into this Ben Armstrong stuff, or actually Altcoin Daily stuff with, again, TJ Shed. He's the guy that's going to be explaining to us what's been going on with Ben in the last couple months, I guess. Or it's probably been over a course of a year, to be honest. But who knows? We're going to find out in this video. Let's see real quick before we get into it. If you guys have any questions, obviously you can ask in the chat. This is live and recorded for a reason. Let's just see, just a strong gainer. They've never had it showcased before. Okay, so the last one on that list apparently is the top small gainer of the day, I guess. That's what UK Miners Club says. So appreciate that. Let's see. I love the deer in the headlights look, says UK Miners Club. And yeah, I mean, he absolutely knew he got caught. And that was, is what it is. You put yourself in the situation, man. All right, let's hear what he has to say. Let's get into this. Again, this is an hour and 20 minutes long, so that is the reason for the early start today. Let's discuss it. Let's get into it.
So it wasn't any one thing. It was the combination of all the things. And it was really the way it would affect his behavior towards people, attacking people, raging on, roid rage was not uncommon.
Today, I sit down with the man accused of stealing BitBoy crypto.
Yesterday, BJ Investment Holdings, the parent company of Hit Network, took decisive legal action in removing Ben Armstrong from the company.
That was TJ Shed, who is the CEO of BitBoy Crypto, now rebranded to Discover Crypto, as well as CEO of Hit Network, who fired Ben under allegations of major crimes, which I question him. Substance abuse allegation, misappropriation of funds allegation, like specifically, how did Ben do that? Why does Ben say that you stole his son's channel? Carlos Diaz, dude, why in every leaked audio am I hearing his voice? Who is he? Ben disagrees with these charges.
TJ should go to prison. Slave. They wanted me to be a slave. This company will be dead in 3 months without me. For sure.
And today, in this exclusive interview, I confront TJ on those allegations. Well, he says he's innocent, and your way of help is to kick him to the curb. My only intention with this interview is from a neutral point of view that has a relationship with both parties. Go through these public allegations. I want you to address them. As we begin, I do just want to make clear that Altcoin Daily is all about presenting news that impacts the crypto community in an impartial and unbiased way, as best we can. This controversy between Hit Network and Ben Armstrong certainly fits that role. Keep in mind, these are just allegations, meaning this conversation is not meant to defame or slander, and we invited both TJ and Ben to be guests on the show. Ben has not yet confirmed, but like always, he has an open invitation, and I hope to bring him on very soon. TJ, I've known you for a long time.
Real quick, obviously Ben is not going to come on at the same time as TJ, and I doubt he's going to be doing an interview at the end of this week. It would be shocking, to say the least, but yeah, I don't know. Sorry, my kid's at the top of my stairs. I'm going to mute for a second and let this play.
I appreciate you coming on. Before we get into maybe some of the heavier stuff, you have made a lot of public allegations against Ben. He has done the same to you. I've known you guys for a long time, so I just want to start at the beginning. When did you first meet Ben?
Yeah, we have known each other a long time. You and I probably met around the same time. Ben and I met. 2018 is when Ben and I first started talking on Instagram. There wasn't a lot of people doing crypto content on Instagram back then. There was probably maybe, what felt like 10 or 15 people doing real content, and then hundreds of Forex and trading bot scammers. So the real people found each other pretty quick, and we started engaging with each other, sharing content, which soon turned into DM conversations. I was living in California at the time. Ben was here in Atlanta. We bonded over both being Falcons fans, and just started turning into a Instagram chat, which turned into Twitter, which turned into helping each other grow each other's content, small group of content creators, and this relationship grew over time.
What qualities do you remember liking about Ben from a business point of view? Because, it's a lot to go into business with somebody.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of great things about Ben, obviously. I mean, he's a very passionate person, very engaging person. He's a very hardworking person. That was something him and I always came together on. We both very strong work ethic, big thinkers, big ideas, and not afraid to go for stuff. So, we bonded and connected a lot on a lot of that stuff early when it came to business. We were very like-minded in the way we saw things and our kind of just do it now mentality.
And that's, in total opposition of where you guys are now. So we're going to get into that. But again, just for more context, because I always like more information, the conversation, because Ben had his YouTube channel before you became CEO, but I believe that conversation to bring you on, when was that and what did that look like?
I joined him officially with BitBoy Crypto in 2020. And yeah, you're right. He had started the channel and worked on it for a couple of years, 2018, 2019, grew it, did a lot of the early heavy lifting, grinding, a lot of respect for all of that stuff, getting the channel. I think it was around when I first started working with him, it was in 2019. I had a business called Coinbound at the time that would help connect content creators with sponsors. And so we would do sponsorship deals. I think when we really first started working with him, he had around 20,000 subscribers. And so we had done some of that through 2019, worked on a couple little side projects, but officially came on in 2020 to help him kind of late of that year. And then really at the time, he had kind of, I think, three contracted editors that would basically just do one video a day. And then that was it. And then his sister as an employee. And then I came in and we really started to try to formalize and scale and, get more efficient with what we were doing, bring employees on to handle certain roles and turn it from just a channel into a business. And then during that time, and obviously this was gearing up for the bull run, 2020 had started it a little bit. Big bull run was coming in 2021. We wanted to be ready for that. So we started, again, streamlining our content. We launched the live stream together early 2021. And kind of from that point on, the channel really started blowing up. I think it was around 50,000 subscribers when I joined. It grew to 200,000 pretty quickly. And then over the course of 2021, as you know as well, had a massive growth kind of for the space in general and in a lot of the top channels.
Could you talk about a happy time that you can remember? Like,
damn it, I was muted. I was trying to say, my bad. I forgot I muted because of my kid. So this Ben getting to 50,000 subs, that is super. It's not easy, right? It's not easy to do. Laying that foundation and getting the groundwork done, it's a big deal, right? So I mean, you can't take that away from him. So obviously, huge props to him for being able to do that. And that's probably as a content creator, that's the hardest thing about seeing him get his channel ripped away from him. I mean, he did do it to himself at the end of the day, but it still does suck. He worked his ass off for it. You know what I mean?
Like working with Ben, for example, with me and my brother, because I honestly viewed your relationship as brotherly. You're great friends, I'd always thought. Yeah. And I think you were at one time. But like for me and my brother, I don't know. It's like we set a goal originally to get to 100,000 subscribers. That seemed outrageous to us when we started the channel. And when we did that, just like saying, man, we did this. Or maybe it's just, at night, at the end of the day, strategizing about content. Like, what were some of those happy times with you guys?
Yeah, we had a lot of great happy times. I mean, very similarly, we had a goal, at the beginning of 21, we wanted to hit, 1 million subscribers by the end of the year. And I think we hit it in like June or May, and we couldn't believe it, and it was just a lot of goals that we would set that would just get smashed immediately. And we had a lot of great dreams and a lot of good fun times. One big memory that I always hold dear. I mean, again, we met and kind of bonded over the Falcons. I'm a big Gary Vee fan, have been for a long time. And we were having this discussion in our office about, man, like, we need another big why. We've kind of done the initial things we wanted to do in crypto. For him, he was talking about, buying his first house. It's like that was his motivation for being in crypto was, buy my first house or pay my house off, really pay it off cash. And then, you know, when that was done, we're like, we need a big vision. I was like, well, Gary Vee always talks about wanting to buy the Jets, and then immediately,
You know what's kind of funny? That was my same well, that's always what I said. That's my goal, to pay off my house. That's the entire reason I got into crypto, is as a whole, like something that's less stressful, and I want to be able to pay off my house. And that's the whole reason behind my channel. It's kind of funny. I didn't know that was Ben's initial, I guess, reasoning to do this.
in that moment, Ben was like, that's what I wanted. I want to buy the Falcons. Like, that would be amazing. Like, that gives me something great to go for. And, you know,
I don't want to buy the Falcons.
that was exciting and it was fun, and we bonded over it. And, you know, that was a really good memory that I always have with him. You know, the first time we went into the suite there, you know, there's a picture of us, and it's definitely, that was a really happy moment. And something, you know, there was a lot of things over the years that were fun. Hitting 1 million subscribers, that was a big moment on the channel. I mean, there's been several, I feel like, almost iconic moments on the channel, you know, just funny things that have happened where we had a lot of fun. You know, we talked a lot of crypto, a lot of people, you know, we made a lot of millionaires on the channel. And that's verifiable, even if the haters say you can't prove it. We've had many people come up to us and say, you know, that what they learned on the channel changed their lives. And, you know, that always is a great memory to have, and I'll always hold on to that. So
let's get a little more serious, a little bit more in the present. And
that's interesting. Aru in the chat says, I think the snake is TJ. And you know what? It's kind of, I got that feeling. So I watched this yesterday. Okay. I didn't like seriously sit down and pay attention to it, but I watched it till like the midway point, and I thought the same exact thing, but there was something that changed my mind like halfway through. And I don't know exactly what it was. I can't remember, but just listen to, he does sound sincere at certain points. I think it was like around here, like the operating agreement ish. So let's just continue and see what he has to say. If you guys have questions, feel free to throw it in the chat.
And I just want to ask you about your intentions today for doing a public interview, because you and the company have been noticeably quiet other than the official announcement, while as opposed to Ben's side has been noticeably public about everything. So what's the intention today?
Really the intention is to, you know, address this one time and answer a lot of questions, because as you said, you know, there have been a lot of allegations made, but the reason we've been so private is this is a very serious issue that affects a lot of people. You know, a lot of people in the real world, in the social media world.
You know what? I am going to bump this up to 1.25. Let me know if it's too fast for you guys.
But also just in crypto in general. And part of it, I don't know if a lot of people saw the Ordinary Gamers video that came out recently, but this is starting to really float up to mainstream YouTube, and it's starting to put it is putting all crypto content creators in somewhat of a bad light, and the crypto content creation space in a bad light. And it's getting kind of referred to as a lower class of YouTube. And, you know, I don't like that. That's not good for us. That's not good for any content creator. You know, you guys work really hard. George works really hard. Coin Bureau works really hard. Tons of people here, Frankie Candles, people on around the blockchain, BitLab Academy. We have, and everybody else in the content creation space. I mean, everybody's, especially in crypto, they're working really hard to make a positive impact, not only for themselves, but to educate people about crypto. And when things like this happen in the public light very negatively, it's a bad effect for everybody here. So we don't really want to be addressing a lot of these things very publicly, because it is a very sensitive issue and it is causing a lot of pain and devastation. But at this point, we feel like we need to come out and at least set the story straight, answer some questions, you know, address these insane things that are coming out, and really show, what's going on here, and how sad it really is, because it is really it's a sad situation, and it's a painful situation for a lot of us.
It's incredibly sad. And for context for the audience, like for me personally, I feel like I'm in a very interesting position, because like you mentioned, I met you around the same time I met Ben separately. You were living in California. I saw you at the OC Bitcoin meetups. I also started to get to know Ben through conferences because he was a peer in the space. And then obviously over the years, and as you joined up, I got to know you guys so much more. And I'm friends with both of you. Like, I'm friends with Ben, I'm friends with you. That's a controversial statement today, because the Ben audience will say, that's not right. And your audience would say, that's not right. My only intention with this interview is from a neutral point of view that has a relationship with both parties. Go through these public allegations. I want you to address them specifically. And then also Ben made some stuff about you, and I'm going to ask you about that, to maybe have you address that. And I do just want to say, I hope to get Ben on the channel this week too. I want to keep everything fair. But let's jump right in.
Yeah, real quick. I just want to, I mean, you said our audience would say that we wouldn't want you to take both sides, and that's not the case. I mean, we are not a dividing point. Anybody that wants to have any communication with him, have him on, that doesn't alienate you from us in any way, shape, or form. We're open to anybody coming on our channels talking about crypto. As long as we want to talk about crypto and adoption and technology and that sort of stuff, then we're happy to have you on the channel. As far as the drama goes, we really want to address this once and for all, and then all of the rest of this needs to be handled privately or in court. So that's where we stand on that.
So let's jump in. Like when Ben was first ousted, to me, it was sudden. To everybody, it was sudden, but it made me sad. It made me angry. I felt a little betrayed, even though I didn't have all the information. And a lot of the audience felt angry and betrayed. Can you understand how they would feel that way?
Oh, absolutely. I can understand that 100%. A lot of people jumped on CoffeeZilla when he sent that tweet out about me, kind of attacking me. And, my original response was, guys, I understand why the knee-jerk reaction from any YouTuber, any content creator, when they see something like this happen is anger, outrage. That's not fair. That's wrong. And I can completely understand.
Yeah, to be honest, I felt that too. I think everybody that has a channel felt that, because it's kind of bullshit. Like, you just rip someone's channel away from them. That sucks. Like, I get it, but I guess there is points to as to why, instead of just letting him do what he wanted to do,
And that 100%, because when you're a YouTuber and you work on a channel and the content, you put all this content out, like, it does become a part of you, part of your personality. You have a sense of identity with it. So to think about that getting ripped away from you, even just subconsciously from looking at another person's situation, it'll trigger something in you. And I can completely understand that. And I know why people felt the way they did. And unfortunately, I couldn't really come out and give a lot of information at the time, because it was a very fluid situation and a very legal situation and a very serious situation. And I had to make sure I understood what was going on before I really started to address it. And I couldn't just come out and start talking about it on social media. But I can completely understand why, without all the information, it was a angering thing. And then as more information comes out, I think people are going to understand over time, because this isn't just one channel. It's a large business. There's a lot of people involved. And I think I mentioned this earlier, but I want to kind of come back to it. There is a social media world where we see everything online and things are sensationalized. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of clicks. But then there's also the real world that have real people's lives involved, real families, real livelihoods, real, payroll to meet and rent to get paid, and babies that are eating on this stuff, and people that get affected by the actions of other people. And there are consequences for those actions, regardless of what it looks like on social media. But
this isn't the first time a company's went under from, a manager or an owner doing something stupid. Like, don't bring babies and all this other bullshit into it. Like, that's just like a poor me statement, to be honest. That's all that was.
That's part of the disconnect we're dealing with right now is, the public opinion, social media world, and then the real world of legal and employees and a lot of other major serious things that have to be handled with care and professionalism, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. And Ben would say the same thing about his employees. You have two different sides, which is what we're going to get into.
Mm-hmm.
When did the relationship with you and Ben start to erode? What were the first signs?
Mine and his relationship, when did it start to erode? I mean, I'd say really, probably this summer. I don't know about first signs. We've had, blowups in the past, and a lot of people could attest to that, employees in the office. I think the very first time he blew up at me was not long into our relationship. Might have even been before a lot of things were really formalized. It was when I was just helping him. The very first argument we ever got into, I was talking to him about a project that I felt like was a questionable project to be covering. And the specific word I used was cash grab. And he just absolutely lost his mind, raged on me, threw something at me, he missed, but it could have hurt me pretty badly. It was just a big blow up. And that was the first time I really realized, okay, he's got some anger, and, it is what it is. We worked it out later on. We parted ways for a little while. We came back together. He did apologize. And basically said it was a matter of semantics, and he was very sensitive to the word cash grab based on some of his reputation in the past. And when I said he was doing a cash grab, it just set him off. Now, he did still end up doing the review for that project and made it very clear that he has the final say on all of those sorts of things in the future, and just don't ever use that word again. But that was a long time ago. And, I just kind of learned how to handle that with him. Then there'd been some other blowups and, here and there over minor things. He would say probably semantics over words. He did assault me one time in the office.
Okay, wait, we'll get to that. I want to get into all that. Okay, go on.
Austin's like, whoa. You went off the rails real quick. Take it easy.
Talking multiple different things.
Oh, tell me about it then.
So, and this is why I'm trying to set the context. A lot of this is older. And we have, and so that's what other people have referenced. One time he kind of like pinned me in a chair and pushed his forehead against my forehead. And, it was a rage moment. And there was 5-6 people in the room when it happened. But the more recent stuff, it started to, and I guess the reason I tell you that is I want people to understand, like, this is not, people have worked with Ben for a long time. We've made a lot of allowances for Ben in a lot of situations, and we care for Ben in a lot of situations. And it wasn't until things really started to get out of control that, real problems started to happen. And I would say that started happening for me in around, May, summertime-ish of this year, 2023. Because I really care for Ben, and I'm willing to work with him through a lot of different situations, and we have in the past. So
you say you care for Ben.
Yeah, real quick. So player 500 says, see, TJ is deflecting and attacking character instead of answering the question directly. That's what liars do. And you know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong there, actually, because that's exactly what he did. He deflected hard.
Ben, the audience is probably shouting. The actions don't show it. So I do want to break that down with you.
Let's do it.
Why did you fire Ben?
We had to remove Ben from the company for a variety of different reasons. The main one was the material harm and damage he was creating, a massive amount of liability exposure to the company, himself, and every single one of the employees within the company. For a variety of different actions, for a variety of different reasons, a lot of the things he was doing was creating massive legal liability exposure for the company. Not just what was listed in those allegations. So I don't know if you want to go through, we've listed the reasons: misappropriation of funds, substance abuse, and employee abuse. That's the main, most of it.
And I want to just remind the audience on my end, this is all alleged. There are two sides to every story. But I understand, like, if the allegations are true, then obviously that is incredibly fireable. Doesn't Ben own the majority of the company? I think he mentioned he owns 67%.
Still does.
Yes, he does. He owns 67% of the company. I own 33% of the company. And if we want to go through the timeline of events that led up to the execution of the clause, because it really wasn't a firing, it was an exercise of the a clause within the operating agreement.
Okay, tell me about it.
The clause, well, you want the storyline first or the clause first? Okay, so unfortunately, in the reasons we listed, we never mentioned anything about his personal life, his personal choices. That wasn't one of the reasons listed. However, it was part.
Oh, good. That shouldn't be a reason listed. That's his personal life.
Part of some of the drama leading up to how we got to the point that we're at. And there is quite a lot there. So I would say sometime in the end of July, one of our head in the finance department, bright young star, he's been working with us for a long time. He ended up quitting the company for moral and ethical reasons. He came to me and basically said, some of the things he was being forced to do by Ben, he wasn't comfortable with. I'm not going to go into the details of those things at this time, but he came to me with that, and he shared with me that he was concerned that Ben had a large gambling problem. And he was sharing me some.
Hold on. What did that have to do with him not feeling comfortable about doing something, and then he just turns around to Ben having a gambling problem? What did that have to do with anything? That threw me off so hard right there.
What those concerns, some of the details around that, and it was quite a lot. So I came to Ben to address some of those issues with him, and he acknowledged them and said, he basically said, yes, this is all true. I do have some gambling issues. I've been trying to handle them. I've been trying to get things taken care of. And it's all better now. I've got it handled. I'm good. I've got it under control, is more or less what he said. Then not long after that is when a lot of this other stuff started really escalating, where, I was hearing his assistant was coming to me with concerns about Ben on the substance abuse level, and some of his behavior she'd been witnessing, and some of the emotional distress that she was in. And then basically one day, it was a Thursday afternoon, middle of August, I was out of the office on an offsite meeting all day, and he started to come into the office and tell a lot of the employees that him and his wife had gotten in a big fight, and that he was going to be leaving his wife. They're going to be getting a divorce, and Ben did this. Yeah, he came in and started talking to employees about this in the office. I wasn't even.
Wait, you can't tell people you're going through a divorce? Is that me, or is that weird? Like, you can't say that anymore? Is that like people getting offended over like calling you sir or ma'am? Like, is it like one of those things where like you can't talk anymore? Just shut up and work? Like, what?
In the office. And then he started kind of at the same time also asking people, like, who's willing to move to Dubai with me? And just kind of going around asking.
He was probably joking. That was probably a joke. I'd want to move too. Like, what?
a lot of different employees at, and people were like, what's going on? I've no, like, I'm not moving to Dubai. And they were kind of just, it was just a very confusing situation. So that next Friday I came, well, and so that night, actually, this is Thursday night, I heard somebody say like, yeah, Ben didn't really call me, I don't think, or maybe he did. But somehow I heard that he'd been in the office telling everybody this, and I drove by Thursday night, saw his car parked out front of the building. I was like, oh man, like, he's probably sleeping there. I need to go check on him. He probably doesn't need to be alone. I've been through a divorce before. Like, I know how brutal it is and how confusing it is and how overwhelming, and just it's hell. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And I would say, other than this past month, like, this past month has been the most stressful month of my life, other than when I went through a divorce. But so I drove in Thursday, saw his car parked out front, came in Thursday night late here, hoping to talk to him. I figured he didn't want to be here alone. And unfortunately he wasn't. I walked in and it was him and Cassie here at 11:30, which was a pretty awkward conversation. And I just removed myself as quickly as I could. And then Friday, that next day is when him and I had to have that conversation, where I was like, hey man, like, maybe we can go to the woods for a little while. I know you're going through a stressful time. Like, let's just get away from this. Let's not try to make any major decisions right now. Because again, I from experience know how confusing and how it, like, you don't know what's up. You don't know what's sideways. You don't know
go to the woods.
Hell, god damn it. I keep muting because my kid keeps opening my door. Sorry. All right, let's get back to it. So what I'm saying is, do you think this is the first guy that's ever slept in the office because he's going through a divorce? What does that have to do with the company, though? Like, yeah, he's going through a hard time, but he has nowhere else to friggin' go. I don't understand that. It's not the first person that's ever done that in the world.
Well, we have a property in Kentucky that his uncle lives on. Okay. And it's like a hunting property with some cabins. And so it's basically like, hey, let's go to Kentucky for a week. We don't have to work right now. We don't have, like, he was worried about a video or whatever. Like, just forget about videos, forget about work. We don't have to, you don't have to make a decision right now about any of these major things. We just need to step away from all of this and we don't need to be doing this all here in the building with our employees. That's for sure. We need to get away. And he was like, he said something like, he didn't know if he wanted to, he does a lot of traveling. He just got back. He feels like he doesn't really want to travel right now. So I said, all right, well, whatever, let's just get out of the office and not, let's just step away from all of this instead of trying to make it all happen all at once. And so later on that afternoon is when we actually talked about his relationship with Cassie for the first time. And where he was basically saying, I basically had to tell him, look, man, a lot of people are aware of that relationship. And I don't know who exactly specifically, I just know a lot of people are. It's, like, it was very much apparent in Miami and several different places. Apparently, they'd been on a cruise in the past that a lot of people had seen different stuff on, and there was rumors, and it was just a very well-known thing amongst our employees. I didn't know how many, we've got 30, 40 employees, maybe 15 or 20 of them knew. I didn't know for sure. I'd tried to stay very far away from this situation because he'd made it clear based on, things that had happened in the past that he wanted no input from anybody on his personal life. Speaking of like that Atosi situation and everything that happened a year ago, this is,
well, what's this have to do with the company?
It's not kind of our first rodeo with this situation. And it had turned into things in the past where when people talked to him about it, he made it very clear he didn't want to hear their opinion. And,
I'm on neither side, but this entire ramble that he's talking about, who gives a fuck? This has nothing to do with the business. Nothing. Like, who cares where he puts his dick? No one cares. I don't understand it.
Ended with documented issues with employees for the company, so it was, it was clear that he didn't want to know, or he didn't care what anybody thought about his personal life. And I didn't want to get involved with his personal life at all. His personal life is his decision. But at this point, once he came in and started talking to all the employees about it, I had to have this conversation with him and say, hey, a lot of people know about this, right? And he was apparently shocked by that. Hold on one second.
I'm parched.
I still want to know how the firing happened.
I know it's a lot, man. This is a lot to get to.
No, I appreciate it. This is exactly what I want, but yeah.
Okay. So Friday afternoon we had that conversation, and then basically, so this is when things started to accelerate. Is Saturday, him and I were supposed to meet up somewhere. We didn't end up meeting up. Again, I was trying to get him out of the office. I think we were trying to play pickleball. He didn't show up, but he texts me and basically says, hey, I talked to another employee about the situation and they acted like they didn't know what's going on. So I need you to give me a list right now of every single employee who knows about the situation so I can confront them more or less. And that was obviously a concerning text for me to get over the weekend. So he sent me a text message basically asking for a list of all the employees who knew 100% or who knew about his affair so he could confront them and have a conversation with them and basically handle his situation about people knowing his business. And at this point, that was a very concerning text message to get, because in the past, when he had come to me with that request, as soon as he got the information, he immediately went and confronted the employee. It led to an altercation that basically ended up a settlement for the company that cost the company money. And it was a very serious event for the company a year ago.
All right. So I get that. That makes sense. Like, being a prior business owner, I understand you can't bring things to employees like that. That's not smart on anybody's part. Real quick, in UK Miners Club in the chat said, just a thought. If he was going to get a divorce, the wife would get half of everything. Removing Ben from the company would stop her from getting half of their company, right? I think it would stop her from getting like 33% of the 67, 33.5% of the 67 that Ben actually owns. I think that's the only thing it would do. But yeah, I don't think that's honestly really relevant to be honest.
A physical altercation.
Yes.
Okay.
And so when this happened, I got this text message and I didn't really know what to do, because I know if I gave him the information, it was going to be volatile. And if I didn't give him the information, he was going to absolutely attack me, or that's what I thought. So I called my business mentor and I just said, hey, Dave, what should I do here in this situation? And
Dave was like, pussy, just get beat up. It's fine.
He said, you absolutely cannot give him that list. You can't put employees in harm's way. And that's what you need to tell him. When he asks for that list, say, I'm sorry, I just can't put employees in harm's way. And so on Saturday afternoon, I was driving in the car. My wife and baby were in the car with me. I was pulling up to Best Buy. I was going to try to get a TV for my house. And I called him to basically tell him, hey, I can't give you that list. And when I said those words, he went into full rage mode on me and threatened to kill me, threatened to beat me to death, said if I ever come in the building again, I was done, threatened to burn the entire business to the ground, basically threatened to do everything that he's doing right now. Said, I'm going to, I'll go after your dad. I'll go after everybody. I'll destroy the whole business. I'll make sure everybody loses their job. If you don't do what I want, I will make sure everything burns. And I basically told him, I know you will, because I know you. And I know that's how you operate. But I still can't give you this list. And I just can't do it. Yeah. So yeah, I said, I know you'll do all those things. But I simply just can't give you this list. I can't put other people in harm's way. And in this conversation, I let him know, like, hey, I talked with your uncle about us going out to Kentucky. I still really think that's the best option. And when he knew I talked to his uncle, he absolutely went ballistic on me, because he says, like, oh, that's like telling your mom. And in my defense, he had told me previously, his one person in his life that if everything hits the fan, the person you need to call is my Uncle Tim, because you can trust my Uncle Tim no matter what. He's my person that will always have my back when I don't know what to do, when I don't know who to trust. Call Uncle Tim. He had told me that in the past. His uncle had told me that in the past. And so that's what I did out of concern for my friend, because this was more than I knew how to handle. And when he knew I called his Uncle Tim, he got very, very upset about that. And in the conversation was yelling and screaming at me, basically blaming me for not stopping his actions earlier, saying if I cared about the company, I would have done something, I would have prevented him from making his mistakes somehow. So basically blaming me for his mistakes. And he literally said, my biggest problem was that I cared more about Ben personally than I did the company. And that if I cared about the company, then I would be acting differently. Which hit me pretty hard, because I think I believe that I did care more about Ben than the company up until this point. I care about Ben as a person. I'm not a money person like he is. Like, I care more about people than I do about money. And this is financially devastating for me. This is not a money thing for me. This is standing up for what's right and trying to protect people that couldn't protect themselves. And it just is what it is. So
guys, hit that like button. Appreciate you for hanging out.
Yeah, he basically threatened me, said if I returned to the office, he would beat me to death, said, all sorts of threatening things, basically, at that point. Sunday, wouldn't take my calls. Monday, August 21st is when I came into the office. That following Monday, it was around, we didn't speak first thing in the morning. And I think around 10 10-ish, something like that. He was in there talking to Carlos. His friend Carlos was in there, which we'll get to that a little bit later. I'm sure everybody wants to know who Carlos is. But he was in there talking to Carlos about some different things. And I knocked on the door and went in and just, like wanted to follow up on the conversation. The other thing he was giving me a hard time about in that meeting or in that phone call was that I didn't confront him. I didn't address the issues with him. I didn't talk to him directly, which is all false, by the way. I've addressed a lot of these things with him multiple times. And I do want to quickly say, if you look at a lot of the statements he's been making, there's a lot of blaming, there's a lot of denying, there's a lot of excusing his behavior, but there's not a lot of responsibility for the actions that he's actually taken. There's not a lot of ownership for the things that he's done. And even throughout all of this, that's what was happening. He was blaming me for all of the things that he did. I didn't have an affair. I didn't have a gambling addiction. I didn't treat my employees badly. I didn't do any of these things. He's just angry.
Did he not come out and say that though? Did he not make a video with his wife sitting next to him? He's crying about banging some other girl. did he not make that video? Like what?
Angry now that it's coming out and that there's consequences, and it feels like he's lashing out at all of the people that are closest to him. And the people that try to help him the most are the ones he seems to be lashing out and targeting the most right now, which is, it's tough, but it's not necessarily uncommon in situations like these.
Well, he says he's innocent, and your way of help is to kick him to the curb.
No, that's not true. We've never kicked him to the curb. We've always been trying to help him. He couldn't continue within this business.
How can you say you never kicked him to the curb when you straight up you fucking fired him publicly? Like what?
And for a variety of reasons, but we're not kicking him to the curb. We wanted him to get help.
Okay, sorry, they removed him. They didn't fire him because they can't technically fire him. It was just a clause to remove him from the company for the time.
Wanted him to spend time with his family. Like, we've been trying to help, and his uncle was trying to help him. Everybody's been trying to help him. So he attacked me in the office on Monday, attempted assault, came after me I went in there to talk to him. I'm just like, hey man, we want to talk about some of these things. Are we going to be able to work together? Do you think we can work this out? And he was saying yes, and I think I rolled my eye. He said something to me that made me roll my eyes, and that's a trigger for him. And when I rolled my eyes, he just full-fledged came across the desk, came after me. Carlos got in between me and him. He knocked the monitor over, moved a desk over, and was just like seething with rage. Carlos was holding him back, and he was just seething with rage over Carlos's shoulders coming after me. There was about 4 or 5.
You know what it reminds me of? And I feel bad even saying it, but TJ kind of reminds me of one of those guys. He was probably doing like the I'm a tough guy thing in front of somebody, and just kind of being arrogant in the whole situation. He probably just did it to get a reaction out of him. And when somebody's in that position, that sucks to get somebody who's supposed to be your friend to act like that towards you. You know what I mean? So he might have deserved a punch in the face. Like, it is what it is. Just deal with it like men. Go out back, beat each other up, and fucking talk about it later. Like, what's the problem?
5 witnesses that saw this, heard this, whole altercation go down. And at that point, he was, I had to leave the office. It was pretty scary. I don't know if many people have experienced roid rage before, but it is real, and it is intense, and it is scary. And that was a big part of the substance abuse problems. He's admitted a lot of that stuff. It's not allegations. There's verified witnesses for a lot of this stuff. I mean, he was taking a lot of steroids, a lot more than what he was talking about, a lot more than what he's admitted. And he was,
again, who cares? Who cares? Who cares? You know how many people do steroids? Just saying. Like, there's so many people on this planet that do steroids for different reasons. Who cares? It has nothing to do with the company.
Wasn't taking them the way you're supposed to take them. He wasn't taking them as prescribed. And that's why I rolled my eyes when he said some of the things he said. He made a little excuse, and I was like, come on, man. Like, you're abusing substances. And that's when he attacked me. But yeah, I know he takes D-ball. I know he takes testosterone. I don't know if he's mentioned that he takes Trenibol or whatever it is, but that's the one that really makes a big difference. And it was
never illegal. Are these over the counter?
Tren, I don't know if Tren's legal or illegal. You'd have to look that one up. I just know it's very, very strong. And I think a lot of them are legal, but how you get them and all that sort of stuff. I know he wasn't getting them legally, and he was getting a lot of different things from a lot of different places. He was faking prescriptions online and all that.
Yeah, he's clearly trying to make him look bad right here. Like, this is trying to make him look really bad. Like, that's fucking, come on. Or,
pretending, oh yeah, I'm a wrestler, so I need muscle relaxers, and so they send you muscle relaxers online, that sort of stuff.
Is there a paper trail? Like, is there proof or witnesses for these?
Probably not.
Oh yeah, these are verified. Yeah, there's witnesses and there's proof for a lot of this stuff.
I'd like to see that.
So these aren't just allegations. I guess there are allegations.
All right, it'd be one thing if he was like banging lines on his desk, right? Or like him and Cassie were doing drugs and sleeping together and shit in the office. Like, that's a totally different story. But like, he's talking about fucking steroids as personal life. Who gives a shit? Guy wants to take steroids to go to the gym. Who cares?
Until it's verified in court. But yes, there's a lot of evidence for a lot of this stuff. You know, Xanax, apparently he was asking his assistant for Adderall. That was one of the things she was concerned about. You know, there was a lot of, you know, and with, look, I can understand, I don't know if people know addicts or, you know, I'm an alcoholic myself, so I can very much understand addict behavior.
What?
And I can appreciate people that go through these different things and, you know, have moments and need different things, but it's very serious. The mentality and the, you know, you have to, there's a way you can.
Why did you just say that nonchalantly? He just said he was an alcoholic, like actively, or like, is he recovering alcoholic?
Be abusing substances, even if it wasn't the one you were on before. And you addict-like behavior, if you don't take things the way you're supposed to, it has a bad effect very fast. He would admit to taking, you know, he keeps talking about the diet pills he was taking, which again, I don't know what the specific name of them were, but he would admit to doing the whole prescription in 4 or 5 days. You know, 30-day prescription in 5 days of diet pills, which is, you know, from what a lot of people say is a lot like speed. So it wasn't any one thing. It was the combination of all the things. And it was really the way it would affect his behavior towards people, attacking people, raging on, you know, roid rage was not uncommon, especially recently.
So who do you have to talk to overturn? Is there a board?
No, well, basically, yeah, I called the corporate counsel, our attorney. That's what I did. Is like I was overwhelmed at that point. I'm dealing with, you know, after he attacked me, I'm started to get other employees coming to me with stuff. So like I said, I mentioned the accounting employee coming to me with things, his assistant coming to me with things, his videographer coming to me with things. Now he's assaulting me, and so I was overwhelmed. I called our attorney and I said, I don't know what to do in this situation. I need some help. And that's when he referred to our operating agreement. And when you look through the operating agreement, there was a clause in there that basically says if a member is causing material damage to the company and is, you know, harmful towards the company, the remaining members can vote to buy back, or, you know, to expel that member, and the company can either buy back the shares or, you know, or dissolve. It's a pretty long clause, so there's details to it, but basically that's what they said, you know, I needed to do. And I was like, wow, that seems very extreme to remove Ben from his own, you know, from his own company. I don't want to do that. Like, you know, that would be a lot. That would be very hard to, you know, that would be very hard to do long term. It just seems so extreme to me, and I didn't want to do it. I'll be honest. I did not want to have to do it. And so I told the attorney that. I said,
do you think it's mainly because it's a lot of work, he didn't want to do it, or he didn't want to do it because he really cared about Ben?
You know, what else could we do? And he said, well, at this point, you know, because he agreed, this is a big decision to make. Why don't we come in, and why don't your counsel come in and talk with some of the employees and determine if this is really, you know, serious, or if, you know, we don't have to do this. So they came in and started taking some statements, and the amount of information that came out in those statements was just absolutely overwhelming. I mean, I don't know how many they got. I mean, it was basically when people started making statements, things started just rolling out. And then at that point, I still didn't really want to execute this provision. And they, you know, I asked him, I said, well, what if I don't execute this provision? What would happen? And he said, well, basically at this point, you are the only person that has any power, any authority to do anything. And now that you have all this information, if you choose not to, you could become personally liable for all of these things. Some of the information are things that have been out there in the verified complaint. A lot of the information that came out in the statement haven't been mentioned or talked about at all. And we would like to keep it that way, you know, for the company. And so when I realized that I was up against now taking on personal liability for some of these things, other key factors, I just had a baby myself. I don't know if that was worth mentioning, but I have a 12-week-old right now that was in the car with me when he was yelling and screaming at me. And so I can't go, you know, take on the liability for all of Ben's actions and consequences in good faith, knowing I need to take care of my family. So I've done a lot of protecting Ben, and for a long time in a lot of different situations. Maybe some might even say enabling, you know, but you know, at this point I had to do, you know, I couldn't take on his liability anymore. And so I had to, with tears in my eyes, sign that paper that executed that clause, which basically said the company is going to be buying back 67% of Ben shares at full price, at full interest rate as of this day, over a 60-month period. Basically, they will be buying out fully all of his rights. So the provision very clearly said, if, you know, when the vote happens, there was 2 members, me and him. The member who's getting voted on doesn't get to vote. So I was the only remaining member. I mean,
I'm no lawyer. Isn't that more like a partnership? It's like, I guess you have to have reason.
Right.
to do it, which is the differentiator.
Right.
Why not quit? Isn't that more common practice for a CEO who's not happy with the direction of the company to quit? And that's how you save face.
Facts.
Well, I wasn't just the CEO. I was part owner too. And it's not just one company. It's several companies. And it's a lot of investments. And unfortunately, if I had just quit, it would have still left the company and every single other employee with an insane amount of exposure. So it would have been, if I quit, basically, if I took the
But that's their decision. If they want to stay, they stay. If they don't, they don't.
money, I would have been just taking money and letting everybody else go down. And that didn't feel like the right thing to do for me. And he did try to get me to do that multiple times. He tried to pay me off, buy me off, just say, look, just take this money and go home and look the other way. You'll be happier. But I couldn't do that for all the other employees knowing what I knew at that point. It was just too much. And like I said, it wasn't about the money for me. It's about what's doing. I think, it's about what's standing up for what's right. And doing.
Let's be real. If it wasn't about the money, you wouldn't be hanging around. Mr. Crypto Frank, thanks for the 19.99 super chat. He said, $20 to get crypto back to crypto and stop the Spanish soap opera. I miss the day where men were men. We would just fight at the bus stop, then the next day laugh about it. Both sides need to stop talking. 100%. I totally agree, Crypto Frank. You're a G. Appreciate you, buddy.
Perfect.
Sorry, go on, please.
No, just doing what's morally and ethically the right thing to do.
In retrospect, seeing how big this got, do you regret not just quitting and then just going public on your own? Would you have changed anything?
No, I would not have changed anything. I knew most likely it was going to come here. Like I said, he told me he was going to do this at the very beginning. I feel like this is still the right thing to do. We're going to get through it. And, it's standing up for what's right is never the wrong thing to do.
As with many things in life, like the devil is.
That's what his mom told him. Standing up for the right thing is never the wrong thing to do. It's
the
such
details.
a mom quote.
Details matter. We've mentioned some of it, but I want to go allegation by allegation that's already public and get your basis for them. So we sort of talked about drugs already, but let's just start with misappropriation of funds. Like specifically, how did Ben do that?
There was a variety of ways he did that. I'm not going to get into all of them. One of the ones that was cited in the complaints, we had a lot of NFTs, Bored Apes, Mutant Apes, several other NFTs that were company assets that he would basically leverage. You put up collateral, take a loan against it, use it for gambling, and then lost the asset. So he lost several $100,000 worth of NFT assets. We also had our corporate portfolios that we used to show and do videos for. I mean, we would do a portfolio video every Friday. And then at one point, he more or less just drained all those portfolios, sent those to Stake. So a lot more or less.
Hold on. They were sponsored by Stake, which is a gambling platform, if I'm not mistaken, for crypto. I've never used it, but I'm pretty positive that's what it is. And I'm pretty sure they were paying him like $100,000 a month or something crazy, a crazy amount of money to sponsor Stake. So I'm pretty sure you get that money back pretty quick, regardless of him gambling his Bored Ape away. Who gives a fuck what he does with his money? I get it.
A lot of funds disappearing to different places, unauthorized movements of funds to personal, business funds going into personal places or to gamble.
Hold on. It was $1 million a month he was getting from Stake. Oh, and he can't just, this is ridiculous. Yeah, he can't
places
you can't leverage an NFT because people are going to get upset about it.
All sorts of stuff on travel. And, there's a lot when it comes to misappropriation of funds. But to be honest, I don't really want to go into too many of those details for a variety of reasons. Yeah.
So you no longer have the Bored Ape?
No. With two Bored Apes.
Ben will say, I've heard him say that he owns 67% of the company. So he's entitled to an equity draw of 67% of the assets. If he wants to do something with it, it's his company.
Facts.
He is entitled to a 67% owner's draw, and he's taken well more than 67% of his owner's draw. So that's not how
sounds like it's about money right now, isn't it, TJ?
I think the biggest issue with a lot of this is Ben really doesn't understand the difference between himself and the company. He says, I own 67% of the company, which is true, but he acts like he owns 100% of the company. And when you own 67% of the company, you can't just do whatever you want with all the assets all the time. So he took an owner's draw home every single week. When I said he withdrew millions of dollars from the company, it's because he did. Millions of dollars from the company he took home personally. And that's for his 67% of his owner's draw. That doesn't mean you can do whatever you want with the corporate funds and the corporate balance sheet. I mean, you understand business, the difference between a corporate treasury and your personal bank account, right?
100%. Honestly, I think I don't know why Ben would have given up this control. I guess there was no following at the beginning, but It's like, if it's his vision, he is the main guy. He chose to give that up in the beginning, and then the chickens come to roost now. Thoughts?
Yeah, I guess. I don't. What do you mean by that?
No, I'm saying that
DJ's concerned face. What do you mean by that?
I mean, I was saying it's on him. If it was, it was my way of agreeing with you that in this corporate structure, then he has to abide by his own personal stuff versus the corporate stuff. If he just owned all of it, then he could do whatever he wanted. But the minute you put in the corporate structure, then you have other
right. As soon as you enter into any kind of partnership with any other party, whenever there's any other interested party in the agreement, you have to abide by the operating agreement that you sign. And that's basically what this comes down to.
Let me lay out Ben's argument, because again, the goal here is just to be as fair as possible. I think, and I hope to have Ben on this week, but it's not confirmed. But I think this is something like what Ben would say. He would say that there was a stake deal, which him and Cassie brought in. He was getting much more than what a couple Bored Apes were worth, $1 million a month. He would say that he made
$1 million a month. That's absurd. They were getting $1 million a month. Yeah, bullshit. This didn't have to do with money. That's crazy amounts of money
for the company. All his shows were successful.
Wow.
The smaller hit network shows that were your idea, potentially, they're not bringing in money. If he is responsible for bringing the majority of the earnings of the company, if he's taking home a lesser amount, it's a non-factor.
But he's not taking home a lesser amount. He was taking home tons of money. That's my point. So
transferring him from his account or the business account to his personal account.
Yes, he was getting paid regularly. His owner's draw, and he'd withdrawn well more than 67% over the years. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So he actually owed the company money.
Mm.
And I have a feeling that TJ doesn't understand expenses either, because when you say you like I've owned a previous business, right? So say you have to take a trip for business, and say he paid for his hotel room and his plane tickets and all this other shit, and then he's reimbursing himself. I mean, there's details like that also aren't in that regular draw of 67%, right? Kind of I think he's kind of lacking the clarity on that end.
And he was withdrawing more from the company treasuries.
I would assume that it all comes down to proof. And if all these transactions happen on exchanges, from the business one to his personal one, however that happened, then there's evidence to support that, and that's more easily provable in a he said situation.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, almost none of our statements we're making don't have evidence behind them. That was the entire purpose of having the attorneys take statements to begin with. They took statements, they followed up on the statements, and we've been, collecting information ever since.
Substance abuse allegation, to me, those are the biggest two: funds and substances. We mentioned some, but specifically, what were the main substances that you are alleging?
Again, it was a variety of different substances. He's already named a lot of them, but it was a lot of the steroids abuse, and I think Xanax was verified, and again, a lot of this is going to come out, the details in the evidence that comes out, but a variety of different steroid abuse, muscle relaxer abuse. Like I said, I believe I mentioned he was taking Adderall or asking his assistant for Adderall, and more. So for me, it was the behavior effect.
He's not doing meth. He's not smoking pot on the job. He's not I don't know. I don't agree with that whole steroid bullshit. I mean, there's so many people on the planet that do it. It's like, come on, really? Is his steroid use really affecting you because you're being a bitch about fucking him getting upset with you over shit? Just deal with it like men.
Effect of the substances, the rage, the mood swings, the bizarre choices. So that, that's where the substances come from. A lot of that's self-admitted by him.
So when Ben took the drug test and posted it online for all the hard drugs, that weren't the drugs in question?
Those weren't the drugs in question. No, nothing on that drug test were the drugs in question. And really, there was a lot of other questions that came out about that drug test as far as the validity of it.
This is a rumor I sort of saw in the comment section, that the real drug here is fame. And when Ben got a taste of fame with an addict mentality, that's really where stuff started to go downhill.
That's an interesting take. Ego, you could say as well, has played a big part of this. And I do think a lot of people have seen changes on the channel over time to behavior. Was it the fame? Was it the substances? Was it the variety of other things? That's anybody's guess. It's probably only Ben can answer that. But there is no doubt Ben Armstrong today is not is not the same Ben Armstrong that used to run the channel. And that's okay. He's on his own journey. He's evolving. and he's be the first one to tell you that. I think he has said that. So
I think so. I think I've told him that, like, when we were in Dubai over a year ago, just saying, like, dude, you're more of a shock jock, you know, boorish. That's more of your character now. And I thought he was just going for shock jock. Obviously, now there's these allegations.
People change, things change. People don't stay the same, and people don't like change. You know, it's one of those things you're gonna have to deal with sometimes. And I have a feeling it was too much change for these people over at Hit Network or whatever their company's called now. It's just, I don't know, absurd. And again, I'm not on anyone's side here, on Ben's or TJ's. I don't really care. I just think this is a whole bunch of nonsense. Like, most of it, everything TJ said so far is a bunch of bullshit, in my opinion.
If Ben said today, I will go to rehab, I want the original deal, whatever that was, would you still be
Rehab
open
for
to
what? For steroids? Rehab for steroids?
Yeah, I think so, to be honest. You know, I've always been open to that. He was originally talking about taking some time off. I'm always open. I've always been open to talking with him. I've always been open to negotiating with him. We just had to get it into the right setting. It was interesting. He played that call last night, and then he cut off the end where I said, like, hey, I hope we can talk tomorrow, you know, or soon in the right setting. You know, we just need the right parties present, like counsel present. That's all we need to do to get this worked out. And unfortunately, he hasn't ever wanted to let attorneys engage with each other. He's been trying to do all of this publicly. But yeah, I mean, everything's always been negotiable and on the table. It's just we have to execute. We still have to go through the steps in the operating agreement. That's the rub. That's what he's been trying to stop the whole time, which is basically we have to get an appraisal of the business, evaluation of the business, and we have to agree to the price to pay him out. And whatever that price could be totally negotiable with us. The assets that get exchanged to pay that could be totally negotiable with us. Like, you know, he was so upset about the trademark, which again, the trademark isn't in my name. It's in the company's name. As far as I know, it's owned by the company. It's company property. All of that stuff could have been negotiable. If he wanted to go be BitBoy, like, we could talk about all of that stuff.
Let's talk about it, because that was a question of mine. The trademarks were owned by the company, but they're all signed by you. And again, one of the allegations he made in his live streams or on his YouTube page was, you have been planning this takeover for years. Everything is signed in your name, and you own the trademarks. No,
that's absolutely ludicrous. I've not been planning this for years. I just told you the story. This happened recently. Why would I be planning this for years? It doesn't even make any sense. So no, I signed them because we hired somebody to get all this stuff done, and I signed the document. But the patents are in the company's name, or the copyrights or the trademarks. It's all done for the company, on the company's behalf. We hired an attorney to do it. She did it. I signed it because I was the CEO, and either one of us could have signed it, and it wouldn't have changed the fact that the trademark is owned by the company. And when whoever's, you know, like when he was no longer with the company, he doesn't own the trademark. But again, I don't care. You know, if we were going to rebrand anyway, and he wanted to still be BitBoy Crypto, like, what difference does it make to me? Like, that was all we could have talked about, any of that and all of that. Like, all this stuff he's saying about his son's channel being stolen, that's not true. You know, the jerseys, like, none of that's true. They've never communicated a request for any of that stuff. You know, it's all here, and sure, we'll transfer it to him. His son, I don't think, wants to do his channel right now. If he does, you know, let us know. We'll be happy to work all that stuff out. But it needs to be communicated through attorneys, not through. I mean, right, he's threatening me right now. He's still sending me threatening texts and texting my wife, and, you know, like, we just got to get to a point of sane communication. And unfortunately, we've never been able to do that throughout this whole process. It's been a battle. You know, I've been trying to do that with him. Like I said, his uncle came into town for a week and tried to talk to him and call him, and, you know, and get him to go to rehab, get some help, whatever it was. And he's just been unwilling to listen and receive help from almost anyone. And the more they tried, the more he turned on him. I mean, I can't believe what he's saying about his uncle now. I've never tried to bribe his uncle. I've never, you know, his uncle's not, you know, like, this is all just crazy. You know, there's no giant conspiracy for 8 of the people, the closest people who cared for him the most, or 7 or 6 or whatever he's saying. Like, there's no conspiracy for all of the people who cared most about him to overthrow him for what? I just don't even understand. So that's what's very frustrating for all of us in this situation, is it's causing, I mean, we've been going through hell here for the last 3-4 weeks, you know, people in tears, playing counselor every day. Like I said, getting threatening messages, all the hate that's getting spewed on social towards us it's a lot for a lot of these people. It's a lot for me.
I would not wish this on either party.
Me either. And I don't wish this on Ben. You know, I really feel bad for Ben in the situation that he's in right now. I think you hear that in my voice on that call. Like, this is brutal. This sucks. There's a
difference between feeling bad and covering your ass and being careful with what you say. There's a difference.
One of the most painful things anybody could ever experience in their life. And what's tough for all of us is, until he starts taking some responsibility for some of the actions he's taken and some of the consequences that come with it, it's not going to get any better. It's going to only keep getting worse and worse and worse. The more he blames and lashes out and denies and starts making these crazy claims, then it's only going to continue to get harder for everybody. You know, and that's just the reality of where we're at right now. So we still want to move forward. We still want peace. I would still love for our legal to get in touch with anybody on his legal side. But again, as far as we can tell, I don't know if there is. He had somebody at one point when he brought his case against us, and that guy hasn't been responding. So, at every point we've been trying to get to, like, hey, let's get to calmer heads and get to the table and figure out how to put this away peacefully and out of the public eye. And that's really what I want to stress. Like, again, like I said at the top of the show, the fact that this is getting so mainstream is not good for us, not good for, you guys, anybody. So, not good for crypto, especially content creators in crypto. So we really need to move on, which is why I'm doing this interview. We're going to say our piece this one time, and then everything on Discover Crypto going forward is going to be all about crypto, all about education, and all about getting ready for that next bull market so we can all make some money.
Why does Ben...
Oh, hold on. Did you guys just hear that? It was just me. Hold on. Let's just hear what he just said. Didn't he say it wasn't about money?
Why does Ben say
let's go back
out of the public eye? And that's really what I want to stress. Like, again, like I said at the top of the show, the fact that this is getting so mainstream is not good for us, not good for, you guys, anybody.
Money.
So, not good for crypto, especially content creators in crypto. So we really need to move on, which is why I'm doing this interview. We're going to say our piece this one time, and then everything on Discover Crypto going forward is going to be all about crypto, all about education, and all about getting ready for that next bull market so we can all make some money.
That's crazy.
Why does Ben say that you stole his son's channel? Like, steel man that for me if you would, or is there any basis? Like, why would he say that?
Because it's hooked to a hit network email, so it's like they can't log into it right now, but we would transfer it at any point in time. That's what I'm saying. It's like it was run here as a business. He was using business resources to run it. He was using employees to run it and corporate emails to run it. And it was it's at the bottom of the list of all these assets that we're going to have to talk about. So it's like, he's very focused on very specific things that sound bad, but okay, if you want it, take it. Nobody's fighting for that channel. And again, I don't know if his son's asking for it. His wife, I haven't seen any request for it in any way, shape, or form. But if they want it, like, as soon as I saw that they wanted the jerseys and the pickleball net that he was complaining about, I said, somebody send that stuff to their house. Like, we're not trying to be petty. We're trying to run a business, and we're trying to protect all the people here.
Okay, that's what he said, but did he do it? Did he send it to his house?
There's two more allegations. We're not going to spend too much time on them, but I just want to define them. One was attempted assault, or was it assault? It was, is it the event you already briefly mentioned? He came at you?
Yeah, the attempted assault is the one in August 21st that I already mentioned. Yeah.
And there were witnesses?
Yes.
Okay. And
that's why he's changed. I don't know why he's changed his story now to Carlos tackled him, but there were several witnesses that saw him come after me and Carlos holding him back. So it's just, there's several witnesses.
And
two sides to
the
every story.
Sexual harassment assault allegations. To me, that's the biggest unknown in terms of what are you alleging?
I'm not alleging anything myself.
Or in your public statement.
Yes. There are allegations against him for both sexual assault and sexual harassment. And people brought that stuff to me. And, I guess what is your question specifically?
My question.
This whole section, actually, I listened to this part, and I actually paid attention to it. This sounds like normal. It's not, I guess I wouldn't say normal, but it's just guy roughhousing behavior, right? Listen to what he has to say here.
Question is that with when you mentioned sexual assault / harassment in your official statement, what is that allegation specifically?
That is a very real, very serious allegation. And it's verified. There are witnesses, and that's something that will be playing out that shouldn't be taken lightly. I feel like a lot of people have been glossing over that the whole time. And it's very serious, and it's not a joke.
I've heard Ben say something like, "Oh, I humped, Nick," or something like that. That is what he's saying. I don't think he's saying it's trivial. He didn't say this, but maybe like just horseplay or something. Are you guys talking about the same incident?
There's more than just that, is what I'll say. And there's a lot to it. And it's not, like I said, it's
probably like random, like, good game, like smacking him in the ass as he walks by or something, like joking, and it just gets brought to an entire another level. It's crazy.
Joke. And if he's saying that's a joke, it's not funny, but that's not the main point. I'll say that.
Is the allegation against Ben and a guy or Ben and a girl?
It's against Ben and multiple men.
And do you think you're not alleging that Ben is, like, why would he do that? Like, you're not alleging that he's gay. He's having an affair with a woman. So why? What is in your opinion?
I mean, you'll have to ask Ben.
Huge shout out to Austin for just like putting it right out there. Like, you're not saying Ben's gay. Like, what are you saying? I don't understand.
That I have no idea why he would be doing what he's doing. Like I said, there was a lot of employee abuse going on. Some of it sexual, some of it not. And I have no idea why anybody would be treating other people this way. I was shocked and appalled when I heard a lot of the statements.
I'm sure it was never intended to
and
be
it was
sexual.
like, I couldn't believe how
That's
much it
fucking
was
crazy.
that I didn't see for how much I was around. It was just shocking. I don't even know how to describe it.
Let's talk about the incident that has been more public. Not that this has to do with that allegation, but his relationship with Cassie. Both parties have talked about that. In your announcement firing Ben, Hit Network felt it was important to make his public affair known. Why is that?
No, actually, that's not the case. We didn't make that. We completely left that out of the public statement. That was never mentioned in the statement because I didn't think it needed to be known. I wanted all of that to be private. Ben has been the main one that has made that the focal point of all of this. He's been the one talking about that the most. He's been the one saying everybody's jealous of Cassie for some reason. He's been talking a lot about the affair and a lot about Cassie. You know, even last night saying, you know, it's ongoing and she's in the middle of all of this and all that stuff. It's, you know, it's bizarre to me. But no, I didn't want that to be the focal point of any of this, to be honest. I was hoping, my hope was that he would, you know, it would be the substance abuse. He would go take some time off, you know, get his head clear. And that was really what I wanted. Get your head clear and then we can talk about how to figure all this stuff out. And people would, you know, forgive him for that. Nobody would, you know, there's a redemption story there and there's a path back, and there always is a path back to redemption. But, you know, at that point, that would have been, I think, the best path forward for himself, the channel, for all of us. It's like, hey, you know, I think he even said it at one point, he was going to take 30 days off. So, yeah, it's just, I never wanted that to be the focal point.
Ben has just been vocal about, you met your now wife through an affair. You were the other man. She worked for you. Does that make you a hypocrite?
No, it's a much different situation. I've talked about this before. This isn't something I'm ashamed of. You guys have met my wife, Allie, before. A lot of people have met my wife, Allie. Yeah, she started working. She was my assistant. People ask me, like, oh, how'd you guys meet? She was my assistant. I wasn't married at the time like Ben is. I think that makes it considerably different. He might disagree. My wife was married when she started working with us. She was in the process of getting her independence. She was separated from her husband within about a month or two of taking the job. We started dating after that, and we got married and we had a baby. So it's really not that controversial. Yes, she was my assistant. Yes, we had a relationship. Yes, she was married when she started the job. You know, those are true facts. But it didn't affect my work in any way. It didn't affect her. And again, she got a divorce. We got married. You know, and it wasn't an ongoing affair, which is, you know, kind of what Ben has going on right now.
But how is that like very different than what Ben just did? You met somebody at work and you liked her. Okay, he's married. He's not happy in his marriage. It is what it is. Again, that's all personal bullshit. That should be checked at the door. It shouldn't be brought into this entire conversation. Nothing to do with it.
Sounds like love. Sounds like love. Thanks. Even though, so I guess this isn't part of the official allegations to remove him from the company, but dude, a lot has been talked about of Cassie's $50,000 a month. I just want to clear it up. It seems like you agreed to the 5%. Is that correct for the $1 million a month, or is that incorrect?
It does seem that way, doesn't it? There's a lot. I'll just say there's a lot more to that story. They're showing half of the receipts, and you'll just have to stay tuned for that one.
Okay. Were you under duress? Were you
much so? Yeah.
Okay. It seemed to me like last week, AJ, the employee of Hit Network, left the business, chose Ben. It seems like a big get for Ben, and the only reason I say that is because, you know, I haven't been in the office this last year. I don't know what's going on. I'm not saying all the employees are privy to what the top guys know, but often employees do have a sense. They hear the talk. What are your thoughts about AJ choosing Ben?
You know, AJ,
shout out to AJ.
You know, he was following his heart. That's what he told me. He feels like he was caught in the middle. He didn't really know what to do. And he said it was somewhat of an impulse decision, and that's what he did. He still hasn't talked to me about it. We haven't had a chance to have a conversation about it yet. You know, which kind of hurt. That,
you know, that's somebody that Austin needs to interview as well. Get AJ on here and find out the true story, because getting the guy that's in the middle, that sees both sides, that's biased to both. I mean, he left the company clearly. I mean, he's not doing anything with Ben. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, Ben's a mess right now. You just left the company. You removed yourself from the situation. So he's the one that should be on here talking about both parties, and that's what we need to find out.
He didn't at least tell me. But, you know, I'm not going to say anything negative about him. It is what it is. You know, he's on his own journey, just like Ben is. And, you know, he was doing what he thought is best for him and his family. And, you know, I hope it works out for him. I really do.
Absolutely. He did mention later on he thought the office, the BitBoy Hit Network office, was cliquey. Is that, and there was a sort of a more of a toxic, I don't know, atmosphere. Maybe I'm putting words in his mouth, but he mentioned something like that. Is there any weight in your mind to the office was cliquey?
Not in my mind. I haven't experienced that at all. I'm not sure what he's referring to, but
I think he was saying that when he went on the book tour with Ben, he was doing his own social media, and some of the employees didn't like that he was making it so much about him. But you guys encouraged people to post.
Yeah, no, there was some of that when he very first started. It was, people, he was trying to get, clout chasing, as people say. Ben had a conversation with him about it, talked to him about it. It wasn't that big of a deal. So, I mean, that happened, but it's not the end of the world. We do encourage people to post on their own social media. So
I would also applaud that. That seems like what that's the Barstool model as well. But let's talk about Carlos Diaz, aka Larry Smith. Dude, why in every leaked audio am I hearing his voice? Who is he?
Yeah, that's what's so funny. Carlos Diaz is Carlos Diaz. He is a community member. He's a friend of Ben's. He's an investor. So he's been somebody that's been watching the channel for a long time. He'd say he's part of the Bit Squad. Came out to one of our first meetups. Took a picture with Ben. Kind of got to know Ben then. And then one day Ben had said something on the live stream, and he's been here a lot. He's told this story so many times. A lot of our employees are probably sick of hearing it, but Ben tells this story on the live stream. Hey, if anybody in the Bit Squad lives in this area, like, here's our address. Feel free to come on through. And so he stopped by the building, started to get to know us. And again, really started to create a relationship with Ben. And he's been an investor. He knows a lot of people in the entertainment industry, in athletics, basically a lot of different celebrities, Major League football players, baseball players, producers, all that sort of stuff, especially in the Atlanta area. And, he's just kind of been a fan and a champion of Ben for a while. He bought tons of the Catching Up to Crypto books to try to help him make bestseller. He says he's got thousands of them in his house right now, and just giving them away to everybody, and is invested in a couple of different projects with Ben, and just really believed in everything Ben was doing. And Ben would come to him with projects and ideas, and Carlos would invest, and he'd help try to get other people to invest. And so he's basically just an investor, more or less. And he's been a friend to Ben and has been trying to help him through the situation, much like many of the rest of us.
Does he work for Hit Network or BitBoy, the entity?
No, he's never worked for Hit Network. He never has. Not BitBoy. Nothing. We've never paid him anything. So he's no way business associated with us at all, other than it being he's invested in similar things.
A big allegation is that was the guy that threatened Ben's life, and the audio recording says something about like under the jail. And I looked it up on whatever that website is, slang.com or whatever. It does say that means a really hard jail sentence or something, but some people could
interpret. You have a website called slang.com, so you could type in shit that you don't know what it means.
For that as a threat of your life. What's your take on that?
I think it's bizarre. I think Ben's really trying to spin a narrative that fits the situation that he's in. Nobody's ever threatened Ben. No, I don't think he's afraid for his life. Maybe he is. I don't know. You'd have to ask him about that. But I do think that might be something he's told his wife and his kids to get them to cooperate. But no, Carlos has never. I think I know what under the jail means. It does mean or under the whatever you said, under the means a hard prison sentence. Like, it's not. I don't put any relevance on many of his statements, especially the recent ones.
Dude, if you would allow, let's talk about the Lambo. That's a point of contention, at least on Ben's side. Did Hit Network take possession of the Lambo that Ben drove?
This whole Lambo thing is so stupid. I don't know where he stands with the stupid Lambo. Like, it's so ridiculous. We never stole it from him. We never took it from him. It's just absurd.
Yo, we're getting towards the end of this. Again, I really appreciate you taking the time. This is something you don't have.
Wait, why did they just stop talking about that? Where is it though? Like, where is the Lambo? Wasn't he trying to get it back yesterday? Is that why he got arrested? Like, where is it? That's what I want to know.
I appreciate the transparency. So in my final few questions, again, I'm trying to think about what Ben would say in this he said situation until the court see the real evidence. But Ben says your father was CFO of Hit Network, mismanaged the books, and this is a cover up for you guys of embezzlement.
Wait, Carlos has the Lambo? UK Miners Club? Is that legit? He has the Lambo? Oh shit, that's crazy. That's what you guys are saying in the chat. Damn. All right, so let's see. Who was saying something about Carlos? Oh, Solar Miner said TJ is missing out on the bit about Carlos being a connected gangsta. Carlos lost millions in Bencoin, and that's probably why he's got the Lambo. What the hell?
No, that's, again, another just absurd allegation that he makes with no proof. My dad, his actual official title has always been Master of Coin, because his main job was to be managing crypto. The money he's alluding to him losing is money we had in Celsius when Celsius went under. So I guess he's blaming my dad for Celsius going under. We've had a CPA firm that does all of our taxes. We have a bookkeeping firm that does all of our books. So
You should.
those are just, again, completely baseless allegations.
So your dad is not responsible for the taxes. That's the CPA.
No, not in any way, shape, or form. We have a CPA form. It's Gordon Law. He'd have to complain to them.
Well, I mean, technically, if his dad is the master of coin or whatever the hell they called him, yeah, you are kind of responsible for a portion of the taxes because you have to submit the proper taxes for your cryptocurrency. Just saying.
How do you feel about Ben asking his followers to donate money for the lawsuit?
That's fucked up.
I think that's pretty low. I don't think people should be donating money to him.
I'm gonna be honest. That's probably the number one thing I agree with. I don't think you guys should be donating money to anybody that asks for it online like that.
It seems like he's in the nice house. He has the Rolex. At least he did it a couple of videos ago. Is, in your opinion, like, does he really need the money, or why would he do something like that if he has those assets?
I think he wants them. I think he wants the money. And he doesn't want to sell the assets.
This next question, this is actually the last big question, but then I want to talk about Discover Crypto. If you can, why did Jay Chains leave the company? That was a friend of Ben. It seemed to be an issue.
Yeah, that was the issue I referred to earlier in the interview with the employee.
Oh, okay.
So Jay Chains was one that had expressed some concerns about Ben in the past as a friend to Ben and tried to talk to Ben as a friend when he had some substance and, decision-making issues a year ago. And that's what happened to him.
You guys, I believe, Ben says there's no buyout. I think I've heard there was a buyout. What could you say what that was originally?
The buyout is we're getting a valuation done and he's getting completely bought out for the full value of the valuation. And, and
a certain amount per year though, or was there something like that or no?
Yeah, it's paid out over 5 years. Basically, the valuation has to be done. So there's an appraisal process that's happening right now. And he's been trying to fight this the whole way through. So he's not.
You know why he's trying to fight it? I read right through this, actually. I have paid attention to this part too. So the reason he's fighting it, right? It's the bear market. It sucks right now. This thing's gonna get put to a point where it's not worth as much as it will be in the next, like, say, 6 months to a year. So that's why Ben's fighting it, and I can guarantee you that's why. He's gonna lose out on a fuck ton of money, and that's why TJ and these guys are trying to get it pushed right now. That's at least my opinion. But
he's slowing this process down. But an appraiser comes in and determines the valuation of the business, and then he gets 67% of whatever that number is.
If Ben said
right now is the best way for them to evaluate the company in TJ's behalf is right now. It's the best outcome for him.
Today, I want to take up that offer that's still on the table, the buyout on those terms.
It's still there. We're doing it. That's what I'm saying. We haven't ever stopped.
Cool.
The only person who's been fighting this the whole time is him. So that's the other thing that's strange is we've been moving through this very methodically and professionally. He filed the emergency motion to try to stop it. The judge threw that out. And the only thing that has happened since then is we've continued to try to get the valuation done and get him paid, which is why this whole thing is bizarre to me.
Let's talk about Discover.
It's not bizarre. He's reading through your shit, what you're trying to do. And I'm like, again, I'm not trying to point fingers at TJ, but that's like, if I was in this position, okay, and I was going to benefit myself during the bear market versus the bull market, I would 100% be trying to get that valuation done before any upswing comes. Because as soon as Bitcoin starts going back to or around its all-time high, the views are going to come back. Network revenue is going to come back into the space. People are going to be watching more shows. It's snowball effect. The amount of money that's going to be coming in is probably absurd for this channel. Go to socialblade.com, and I'm sure you guys can find out how much money these channels actually make when they're making a shit ton of content during the bull run and now. The amount of revenue people have lost, for my channel personally, at least 3/4 from what it was during the last bull run. And that's crazy because I have way more subs than I did then. But that's the truth of it. He's trying to get evaluated now so he doesn't get, so they don't have to give up as much money as Ben honestly deserves. That's kind of shitty.
Crypto, but just final thoughts on whatever you want to say, if there's anything left on this incident lawsuit.
Yeah, the only thing I really want to say on it to close it out is, this is a very unfortunate situation. It's really sad, not just for all the employees here, the channel, all the families that are affected, not just for Ben and his family, his parents, but for really all of us as a whole. We really want to be able to move forward and put this behind us. We really want to stress there's a lot of really good people that are still here that do care about crypto, that work really hard to bring good information to the forefront so other people can learn about it, and hopefully it impacts their lives in a positive way. So we really want to shine a good light going forward and try to focus on the light. I feel like Ben's focusing on a lot of darkness. And everybody here at Discover Crypto and Hit Network going forward, we're going to be looking at positive, bright, light, good things. And that's the whole purpose of why I came on here today. I hope we answered a lot of the questions so we can just put it behind us once and for all. I hope my version of events is logical and it makes sense, even though it might seem extreme and it's difficult and it's sad. I hope you guys can see why it had to be done. And I hope you can see that the choices he's made since these points kind of demonstrates the decision-making process of why it didn't seem rational to continue on the path that we were on. And if you don't, hopefully you can come around over time, but our goal here is to move forward. That's all we want to do. It's painful. It's sad. But we want to look up and we want to look towards the future.
I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you coming out on, and I think, in my opinion, the biggest thing that hurts the audience is a lack of information. So even though a lot of this is a he said situation until the courts, suss it out, I just want all the information. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. You didn't have to. Next 5 years, where will Discover Crypto be?
Next 5 years, Discover Crypto, man, we're going to the moon. It's going to be great. We're going to be broadening things out to a lot of different creators. We're going to be bringing a whole lot more onto the channel. We're going to be a lot more collaborations. We're going to be getting into more niches within crypto that we haven't touched on as much in the past, maybe like mining and some of that kind of stuff. Not crazy, but having more areas that maybe didn't touch the channel outside of just news.
Maybe they reached out to our boy Hobbyist because he looks like Ben, kind of.
So we're really excited about how to do that across not just YouTube, but a lot of other, social media platforms that we have. We've got a lot of creators coming to the building now to do in-person content. We're going to be building out more studios here at the Hit Network facilities to make space for lots of collaboration. So we're just really excited to collaborate and try to move the entire space forward in any way we can.
I'm really glad you guys are switching it up, only because firing a Joe Rogan from the Joe Rogan Experience, you're not going to have the same viewers. If Jamie tried to take over, lose viewership immediately. So switch it up, make it a different show, because the people that subscribed in the last few years, they subscribed for Ben, in my opinion. So I'm happy to see you guys transitioning. I'll put the link for your stuff down below, but final thoughts for the Altcoin Daily audience.
Final thoughts for the Altcoin Daily audience. I just really appreciate any support you guys could offer us. This isn't, like you guys just said, this isn't going to be a simple path forward. We're going to need a lot of support from the industry. So if you guys care about good information and good content and good news, and you can come over and show us some support, we'd love to have you there. And we'll see you at the top.
Well, shout out to Altcoin Daily for doing that interview. That was kind of crazy, but it's like, man, I don't know. That the whole thing it's just so fucked up. It really is. All right, so Ben Armstrong actually, I guess, tweeted some stuff out. Let's see what we got here. All right, so this is the hardest tweet I've ever had to make. I need to make a confession I've never imagined I would admit. I'm not even really sure if I have the courage to say it, but I'm going to do my best. Here it goes. My name is Ben, and I'm a loiterer. I did 8 whole hours in the slammer. What? This is what. All right, so I had an image I showed at the beginning of the where was it? Damn it, hold on, let me pull up the here it is. My man KJ gave us this 8 hours in the slammer. He had a bond amount of $2,600. Ben Armstrong's his little thing right there. All right, let's see. So me, my wife, and Cassie are trying to figure this out. We are all grown adults capable of making our own decisions, and we don't need any of you to help us with that decision. Please butt out of my personal life as it relates to my relationships. And the thing that I see, the only shady thing that I get from Ben on this behalf is when the cops showed up, he was clearly trying to hide it from the people he was live with. Like, he was live on his channel, right? So he was clearly trying to hide it from all the viewers, everyone watching, that Cassie was with him for whatever reason. I don't know, because what does it matter if your wife already knows? Who gives a shit? Like, what if she knows she's with you? Then why does it matter? He said, here is the point. And listen, I understand if some of you won't accept it. I'm not getting rid of Cassie, period. What? He said, my own friends and family lied and manipulated me in the worst ways to accomplish their goals of breaking us up. And I am never... What? And I will never give them what they want. Never. What? Wait. I am so confused. I thought he said that him and his wife were fixing shit, and he just said, I'm not getting rid of Cassie. What? In all seriousness, I'll be back on the show tomorrow like normal. Number 1, I have PTSD from what TJ has done to me. Number 2, my company has been stolen. Number 3, I was extorted for my Lambo. Fuck the Lambo. Who gives a shit about the Lambo at the end of the day? Who cares? All right. 4, I'm angry about all of it, beyond angry. 5, the only thing exceeding the anger is hurt. I get that. But stop crying about the Lambo. Money is not everything. Money is not everything. Stop fucking crying about it. It's so aggravating. The Lambo thing. Like, I get it. It's a nice car, whatever, but it's a fucking car. It's metal on wheels. Who cares? Or fiberglass, whatever. And tomorrow, I meant today because I've been up all night because I'm hardened criminal loiterer. He's so outrageous. He said, I'm sorry to Altcoin Daily and Crypto Wendio for what I said yesterday. Oh boy, what did he say? Does anybody know? Let me know in the chat. I've been upset with things they have chosen to do in the situation. However, it's not worth losing friends over. The fact that I have so much PTSD from TJ that even the slight feelings like a gaping wound. What? This is so crazy. Oh, Wendy O actually responded. Thank you for this. I am not mad and I wasn't. I understand you're going through a very stressful time and I want to see you feel better again, and I know that you will. I am always around to listen or talk. Wow, that's crazy. That's so crazy. Whatever. It is what it is, guys. I don't know. How do you guys feel about all this? How do you guys feel about it? Let me know in the chat. Let me see. How many people are still here, guys? Hit that like button. Appreciate you for hanging out. Appreciate you for hanging out. Oh, by the way, I hit one of those nice hash blocks or whatever, like the team mining or whatever it was. I made like $70 off like a $2 hit, but I think I probably spent that same amount, so I'm back to even, if anybody's wondering. All right, let's see. Mine some 10. Ben is a train wreck. People watched in anticipation of the inevitable. He is mentally ill. You know what? So like, I think everything's fucked up. Like, I'm not on anyone's side here with the whole situation. I think TJ's wrong. I think Ben's wrong. I think they're both wrong, right? Ben made his own bed. He's got to sleep in it. TJ, I think he's kind of manipulative. I'm not going to lie. Just watching the way he was speaking, it keeps going back to like the demeanor of somebody's person versus what's going on in the business. Okay. Like the sexual harassment bullshit, like guys just joking around, like in the locker room talk and just bullshit. Like, who cares? Like, people take sexual harassment to an entirely different level, and that's kind of what he was trying to do in that whole interview with Altcoin Daily. That's just my opinion. And then the fact that he said like he's not all about the money, and then he goes and says we're gonna make a whole bunch of money, like in the same, like within a half hour of saying I'm not about the money, we're gonna make a whole bunch of money. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. It's manipulative on both parts. That's what it is. 100%. But TJ is a piece of shit thief. There's someone in the chat. Let's see. It looked to me like someone was feeding him input in the interview. You know what? He kept pausing. Nate Dogg, you're not wrong. He kept pausing. I noticed that. He'd stop and like he'd stare off into space for a minute. He did that a few times, probably like 3 times. Let's see. But not him making the accusations though. But it's not him making the accusations though. It's not TJ, is that what you're saying? It's not TJ making the accusations of the misconduct, harassment. Is that what you're talking about? He's a reptilian. Patrick Murphy said my old boss had a term for these type of guys. Milk toast. Milk toast? I've heard soup sandwich. That's about it. Not milk toast. Oh man, I don't know. This whole thing is just fucking drama after drama after drama. I hope you guys stick around for like, you know, when the bull run comes and get rid of this bullshit that's just going on. I don't know. I mean, who knows what's gonna happen? This could go one of two ways. This whole entire channel that TJ's now running, Discover Crypto, whatever the hell they rebranded the channel to, it's either gonna sink or float. Like there's 2 ways about it. That's it. Literally, that's all it's gonna do. It's either gonna completely crash or it's gonna blow up even further than it is. I honestly don't think it's going to disappear completely. That's just my opinion, but money and the people there, and I feel like TJ's even eventually going to be gone. I don't think he's even going to be there anymore, to be honest. After like this entire debacle's over, I think it's going to be no TJ, no Ben, and that whole channel is just going to have to change. 100%. Let's see. Ben is Trump in crypto. He will have followers. Yeah, dude, honestly, look at this guy. Let's see. Let me bring this up. Let me grab his channel quick. His new channel. Ben Armstrong, right? That's his new name, I think. This dude, he's already got 53.7 thousand subs. That's insane. 60,000 views on this Bitcoin horrible week ahead. It's crazy. He's got like 4 videos. Oh, whatever. He's got 10 videos, right? And it's mostly just talking head bullshit. Still shilling Bencoin. Stupid. I don't know if you guys heard this. This was the full leaked audio of that conversation him and TJ had. He says Ben cut it off at the end, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's again just a bunch of bullshit. But either way, I mean, he's gonna get followers. He's gonna have people that like him, and that's fine. It's totally fine. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Part ways and do what you got to do. Be adults about it. I just can't believe TJ was that scared to get punched in the face. It's like, dude, just take it like a man. Take a hit. Like, seriously, if you've never been punched in the face before, like, come on. Really? Pretty sure we've all been in fights. Let's see. This could easily get tied up in court for the next 5 years. Oh, 100%. And honestly, that is probably Ben's best. That's his best outcome if it gets strung out for the next 5 years, because the new bull run is going to come. There's going to be, again, massive influx of views on his channel or on that channel. And overall, it's just going to make that company worth more, and he's going to get more money in the end. But that's exactly why TJ wants to get it settled now, because guess what? Like, you know, there's a big difference between like owing somebody, you know, $10 million versus like $100 million. Okay, he's gonna get screwed. He's gonna get screwed in the bull run if he doesn't get the company evaluated now. That's pretty much what's happening. Anyways, guys, hopefully you guys all enjoyed this. Sorry for the drama today, but hopefully we'll be back with some news and real shit tomorrow. And until next time, guys, have a good day. I'll catch you guys soon. Smash that like on the way out, and peace out. Enjoy your Tuesday. I'll see you later.